further to the sort of fictionalized the story I'm writing, in which I mentioned the protocols, and I just made a video about it. This will be part two to that video. Um, in the little sort of story I'm writing, I said, well, Catherine tells, Tyrone that she says, look, these were written in the 1800s, but but now it's even gotten more sophisticated. It's sort of a war on consciousness itself and things like that, and behavioralism and it's evolved. It's not just the same protocols that were designed in the 1800s. It's gotten more complicated. I want to say that a person like me has been victimized by that plan, but I want to tell you more about it. The very way it's harming individuals and their ability to help solve any of the problems of this world. It's just creating all the problems. In the sense of putting a deadlock on like why our planet's being poisoned and stuff, and why nothing moves along. The very idea that like a person like me had to like go through, whatever it is, the idea that there's some type of person who's descended, who's Russian descent apparently, um, doing who's behind a lot of the diabolically clever movements and a lot of the evil in this world is being caused by people who basically I'm descended from. The whole way in which the issue can't talk about this group of people and what they've been doing. So in other words, it was the very fact that at the turn of the century they stamped all kinds of people at Ellis Island as saying that they were Jewish. Okay, that's part of the design. Apparently, it has to be intentional. There are people that came from the mountains of Warsaw. There's people who came from Russia that like never read the Bible in their life. There's people who came who were like very religious and like read the Bible. Like there's a mixed bag of wave of Jewish. What they're calling Jewish immigration. I think that part of it is they stamped all kinds of different people, whether they were religious or not, whether they practiced any religion, whether they come from radically different parts of Eastern Europe. They just stamped them as a Jew at Ellis Island. Remember, they didn't even get the names right. My grandfather's last name was like Kupferstein. Like it was stamped as like Cooperstein, and then it's not even a real name at this point. Um, but that's just it. It's plus to everything. The very fact that people, a person like me that says something about this sort of group of people that we're aware of doing these diabolical things. Like, so, well, this guy's an anti-Semite. I said, well, how can I be an anti-Semite? I started David on my arm, and they said, well, he hates himself. I mean, even in regard to like discussing this diabolically clever group of people that have like taken over in a number of sectors, you can't even discuss it because that in and of itself is framed in a way that would cause you even in private to be concerned. Like, well, I'm sort of descended from these people, but maybe they're not my people, or maybe I'm a Jewish Nazi or this and that. They go through this whole thought process to unwind what's happened. Right? It has nothing to do with being Jewish because remember. We don't the amount of different kinds of people that were stamped on their way into Ellis Island during what Francis Parker calls a sort of, he jokingly calls it like the Jewish invasion of America. Like a lot of Eastern European Jews immigrated in um, during that time. But right? What does it mean to be a Jew? Like who the hell knows? I mean, some people practice the religion, but I don't know where their ancestors came from. Some people don't. There is though some kind of diabolical sector of people who are basically you have Eastern European descent that are like behind a number of things. But the way in which you can't even think about it, if you're any enlightened Jewish person who would try to like think this out, would end up having a nervous breakdown because what it means for them and like how can they reconcile with their being Jewish with the Jewish people that are doing this remember we don't know what Jewish means. We don't. I mean I don't know. I mean I wouldn't give you a definition of it. I don't know. Like I said, if I told you the facts of my family story, or it doesn't match any. I mean, I don't know. The very use of the word and the Jewish identity thing, and the people hate themselves. That in and of itself is the kind of thing that's in the protocols, like about how to subvert people, how to divide people, like how to make it impossible to like agree on anything. Like whoever it is incredibly good at like subverting any ability to like to come to consensus or come to agreement within yourself or come to it's a kind of diabolically clever way to keep power and keep things basically getting worse.